Line number 96 is a prime example of a cartoon character that single-handedly defined the visual style of one particular animator, which in turn changed the way how cartoon characters reacted to situations. Despite just being anthropomorphic, he stands amongst his peers as the archetype of how well poised and defined a character should be. Of course, I speak of Droopy. Originally known as Happy Hound, Droopy got his first shot at cartoon stardom with 1943's Dumbhounded. In the short, it showcases the modus operandi of the character in full display. As mentioned, Droopy would single-handedly define the style and career of a line profiling animator, that being none other than Tex Avery. He was an animator who had gotten his start with Walter Land Studios in 1929, but later went off to take on a bigger role at Warner Brothers Studios as a supervisor for several of the classic Merrie Melodies and Looney Tunes shorts from 1936 to 1941. But his next role at MGM in 1942 would be the one that made him stand out and establish him as a top guy in the industry. Not only did he help work on several of the Tom and Jerry shorts alongside William Hanna and Joseph Barbera, but also patterned a visual style defining how cartoon characters looked on screen. This brings us to Droopy. He would be his defining creation. Besides being a dog, Droopy exhibited a very lackadaisical demeanor, approach, and sloth-like draw, courtesy of Bill Thompson. But there was more to the character, as he somehow managed to display a high level of intelligence, especially when outsmarting the wolf. Speaking of the wolf, he and Droopy would establish the staples that made the Tex Avery animated shorts famous. The very exaggerated facial expressions, extreme sight gags, wacky reactions, fast-paced but fluid character movements on screen, and the constant use of breaking the fourth wall. Droopy also managed to play various roles, such as a sheriff, a cowboy, and a showman. Droopy played them all and more. Droopy was a character that had a certain charm most of his peers didn't have. He was the straight man, but a very intelligent one. He usually faced off against the wolf and proved himself as quite the ladies' man in some of the shorts, as he typically captured the heart of the sexy damsel in distress or the sexy, picturesque dame. This was the 1940s and 50s, for goodness sake. That's just the way it was. Even though Tex Avery was synonymous with the creation of the character and directing the shorts, he would leave MGM in 1954 after being fired by MGM and returning to Walter Land Studios, instead being replaced by Michael La and Dick Lundy, who did the later shorts for MGM. After his very last short, 1958's Droopy Leprechaun, he managed to stay relevant as many of his counterparts did after their theatrical run, repackaged as a series of cartoons. The character later made his comeback in a new way, as a Saturday morning cartoon. First in Filmation's 1980 short-lived second revival of Tom and Jerry, the Tom and Jerry Comedy Show, and in 1990 with Hanna-Barbera's babyfication revival, Tom and Jerry Kids. In the latter series, he was now joined by his son, Dribble, as they dealt with Nick Wolf. The duo had proven to be such standouts in the series that they were given their own series with 1993's Fox Kids anime series, Droopy Master Detective, where he and Dribble took on cases as detectives, with comedic results, of course. Despite Tex Avery creating characters such as Scooby Squirrel and even being instrumental in the creation of Bugs Bunny, Droopy is the one that is associated with him the most, and rightfully so. Droopy is one of a kind. the kind of character you don't see in today's animation. But he never has been far away from the reach of the viewing eye. Droopy can still be seen on some lineup on Boomerang and now MeTV Toons. His cartoons are the blueprint for what came after, and they will stand the test of time, just as most of these theatrical cartoons do. Not bad for a monotone speaking pooch.
You know what? The hero always comes out in the end.